Welcome back to Senior Savvy Cannabis. I'm Katherine Goldberg. Today, we're joined by Orin McCaffrey of Purple City Genetics. Orin, before we get into what makes a great energizing strain, because you know me pretty well, can you just tell me about why you love cannabis, what you think about its variety and potential, and what the driving philosophy is behind Purple City Genetics?
Yeah, sure. I mean, that's a big question, but yeah, I mean, I've been involved in cannabis for at least 25 years, cultivating it, maybe even closer to 30 now. Um, so I mean, from the inside, I love it for the diversity of it. I love everything from autoflowers to hemp to THC. I love all the different terpenes. So I love it, botanically. I think it's just an amazing plant, and I love working with it. From the outside as a consumer, I love what it can do for us. I think the modern world can be pretty intense and pretty high energy, and I think cannabis can really help people relax, help people kind of get different perspectives. And personally, it's just been a great part of my journey in life, not just as a farmer and as a breeder, but just experientially connecting with people all over the world through cannabis has just been really special. So I just the whole thing. I mean, I obviously I'm on the inside of it, but I just love it for all of that. Yeah, in terms of like sativas and high energy cannabis. I mean, that's definitely my personal preference. Um, particularly with the amount of like hash and everything that's available. I feel like there's always something available for you to relax if that's what you're trying to do. I think it's harder to find, really special high energy stuff. So a lot of our history with Purple City, in the Bay Area, dating back to the early 2000s, is through the medical scene, and I'd already been involved in cannabis for close to 10 years before that. And it was always, I'm sure as seniors know, it was always like kind bud or green bud or what certain maybe varieties a little bit, but often it was just what was good and what you could find. So it was really exciting to get involved in the scene in the Bay Area when it was everything was labeled, everything was really into genetics, and you could go to a store, but then it was a club, and there might be everything from they would indicas, hybrids, sativas, and they would lay you out the whole range of it and say, "Hey, what are you looking for?" And they were really talk to you about the effects and be like, "Are you looking for something creative? Are you looking for something social? Are you looking for something for the daytime, something for the nighttime?" And I mean, it was just like really mind blowing and exciting, and just to see all the Dutch stuff, all the Canadian stuff, all of the California stuff, and then people started to, work in all of those and combine them. And because the price point was good, so many people were able to grow, 13-week sativas, 12-week sativas, and make a living doing it. So we really are inspired by that era and, imbue what we do now with it and try not to limit ourselves, by just what's popular or trendy, but also really honor the, effects that the plants have, and try to keep that part of our philosophy of what we're doing when we're breeding plants. That was long winded, but I hope I covered it all.
I love it. I love it. Great minds. Another sativa nerd. Fantastic. Not to simplify it into sativa and indica, but I know that we're possibly in the minority of people who don't use cannabis to mellow out. And I'm thankful that you're providing options for us. Um, I don't want to bash on the current state of affairs deliberately. But when I joined the medical program, 12 years ago or so, I thought the quality of the cannabis was much, much better. And the stuff that I see now, unless it's from a craft farm that you can seek out, it seems pretty bad. Is it is it that it's been sitting on the shelf longer? Is it this multi-state operation has taken the integrity out of it? What are the combining factors that have made it such a distinct shift? Where I think a lot of the audience has noticed that they're tired of spending their money paying taxes and they'd rather just home grow.
Yeah, I mean it's a good point, and it's yeah, it's certainly true. I mean, you know, through our company and formerly was a collective, we've always grown a lot of our own cannabis. But yeah, and under the medical, I still would go to clubs and buy other stuff because I thought there was amazing products available, and I just don't do that anymore. Um, when I go, and it's very rare I go to a store and pick something up now or have somebody give me something that really excites me, and I'm like, wow, this is really great product. So yeah, I mean, I think obviously just the heavy shift to making it a commodity has done something negative to the quality. And I think it is a lot of the things you talked about. It is the kind of funnel of the supply chain. So like this huge bulk goes in, but then by the time it comes out on the other side for a customer at a store, it's sat for a long time. And not to say that cannabis can't sit for a good amount of time and be fine. It's just not cared for properly along that chain there. Um, I think that's a problem. I think just the price compression's been really hard for boutique people. So like the kind of care and love that they maybe even want to put into it, it just doesn't come back to them in dollars. It's similar with the sativa stuff. People will be like, oh, I'd like to grow this 10-week plant, but I can't really get any more money for it than I can this 8-week plant. So I'd rather grow more 8-week plants in the course of a year than 10-week plants. And so I think just overall, it's just people generally going back 10 years like that. I think generally people really took more pride in the quality of what they were doing, and that's kind of what they stood on, was like their quality, and that's what they thought, well, that's going to build my reputation, my business, my sales. And now it's like they're like, God, they're just looking at spreadsheets and scratching their head going, how can I make this work? What corners can I cut? How can I cut costs? And that, hopefully we see another evolution. And I'm sure, I don't really like to compare it to alcohol, but I'm sure in alcohol too, there was, this moment where there was all, very regional breweries everywhere, right, in the 40s and 50s. And then slowly they consolidated and it became just like very limited amount of beer. I'm just thinking about beer, and then all of a sudden it exploded again into craft breweries and craft beer. And now I don't know anybody who drinks Budweiser, but I think you go back into the 70s and early 80s and it was pretty common. Um so I don't know, I feel like maybe it'll happen again, and this is just the road that things kind of go on as they legalize and become these like commodities, and eventually the consumer starts really banging at the wall going, please, I'll spend my money, but just give me something better. Yeah, I mean, it's similar. Not to go too off topic, but it's similar to THC percentage too. It's like people, so much of our breeding is having to be dictated by THC percentage. When I just, as a consumer, I would never go buy wine based on alcohol percentage. So why would I buy my cannabis based on THC percentage? But somehow when everybody in between's looking at their spreadsheets and looking at what they got and they see these high THC numbers, they're like, this is going to equal some kind of, more revenue for us at the retail shop. And somehow, people come into the store thinking, well, if I'm only have this much money, I should buy this much more THC, and it's just not true. None of that's accurate to what people experience when they actually consume it. So I don't know. It's kind of in a difficult time with the quality and some of the focus on THC, and even focus on just kind of like brand and like all of this other stuff instead of just the quality of the product.
I so appreciate your perspective because it takes someone who has lived the history to see this evolution and to step back and give us this insight. Um, and I think you're absolutely right on every single point. And the beer analogy makes total sense. Um, what can the consumer do who's listening to this and uh, maybe they're over the dispensary? Um, if they want to start home growing, but they feel like that's just a Herculean task, what would you tell them? And sorry, just so I don't forget, in terms of your offerings, do you guys offer low THC options with possibly minor cannabinoids? Which is probably the far more interesting question. So whatever you want.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a great question, and I feel like, here in California under the medical, home growers was such an important part of it, and we really thought about it a lot. And it was, part of the movement from the activist side was, grow your own medicine and everybody grow their own. And then there's been such a shift to like, for us personally as a business, to just thinking B2B. Like, okay, we're working with these licensed producers, and that's kind of how they set up the ecosystem. Um, and I really started to shift my view around that recently, because I'm like, I just see some of the numbers of how many more people are home growing, and it is a thing that's happening, even if the media and the kind of culture isn't as centered on it. When I talk to friends in the nutrient business or the grow tent business, they're like, "Oh, every time a new state goes medical, we just sell out. We can't keep product in that state." So I'm like, "Oh, that's right." All of a sudden, they've legalized growing 3 plants or 6 plants, and if you're 22 years old living in your first apartment, you're like, "Let me get a grow tent and try this." Um, so I think that's really exciting, and I think also personally, I'm close to 50. Like I have a lot of friends who are consumers for a long time and never tried home growing, and then recently, because of the laws, are like, huh, my wife grows tomatoes, maybe I should have her grow me a plant outside. And so what we think is the right entry point is really autoflowers. And that's something we've worked a lot on over the last decade. um, is autoflowers, because it's not dependent on the light cycle. So you can grow it anytime. You can grow it any time of year. And what's nice about these plants is historically, in their genetics, is they come from a wild cannabis variety from Russia, and they grew up high in the mountains, so they didn't their grow period was so short that the plant somehow evolved to learn to just like, the second the root goes down and gets going, they just flip to flower, and then they're done really quickly. So that way they're not going to get frost, and they're going to be able to survive. But the nice thing about these plants is they don't need a lot of fancy fertilizer. They don't need a lot of training. They don't need a lot of the techniques and kind of nuances that a lot of the cannabis plants do need. If you're going to start consuming, I've seen people just put them in a little tiny pot in the window of their kitchen, and the plants stay small because they don't have enough root space. But you get a little plant, and you dry it, and you have a few joints, and you're like on your way to learning how to grow. So I really think that's like the way to start. And they're typically not the hugest THC percentages, and we've worked really hard to um, differentiate a lot of the terpene profiles, because unlike regular what we call photoperiod cannabis, which has been bred for a long time and heavily for the last 30 or 40 years. The autoflowers, it's only maybe the last 10 years have had as much breeding work, 15 years. So a lot of the flavor profiles weren't that good or that interesting or you know, tailored to the modern kind of palate. So we've done a lot of that work, and I'm really proud of them. So I think that's the way to start. Is you can put them out with your tomatoes, you can put them out. You got a flower bed that's on drip or has a sprinkler. You just throw them out there and see what happens, and you don't have to worry about it being so precious or so dialed, or you go on vacation. I think that's something you're like, oh, I got to grow a plant. What am I? Go away for the summer. You just throw it in there and see what happens. Um, and we do offer that on our website. People can purchase them, and that's I think that's the way to start. And then there's a whole world that can open up to you once you start.
Um, I'm absolutely with you. I've grown a couple autoflowers and got so much delight from just watching them grow.
Yeah,
It's like the for dummies version. It's very hard to screw up. It was just out on my balcony. I I didn't even feed it anything. And
exactly.
it was a nice plan. And the amount of time I spent outside watching it instead of inside on my phone, watching the news, I feel like just growing it was a therapeutic act in itself.
It's
So
so true.
and just if you're looking for like, a not screen-based new hobby, I would absolutely consider growing an autoflower. I had one guest on, a very respected guy, brilliant. He had very strong feelings about autoflowers and not liking them. And of course, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. Are there two schools of thought within the cannabis community? Like, I'm just trying to understand what, when he said it, I was pretty confused because I've had so much delight from growing an autoflower. And I thought the barrier of entry was so low that it was just like it made sense. So is there kind of like an old school thought where they're like it's cheating, or could you?
No, I mean, I don't know a particular situation there, but I mean, we have to convince a lot of people to try them too. Even cultivators, like on a pretty large scale, they're really ideal because you could do them a little early before you do your regular stuff. You can do them a little late if the weather's good. And a lot of people go, no, they're going to be garbage. I don't want to do it because the last time they tried one was 5, 6, 10 years ago, and the breeding's just it's just been an uphill curve there that they've gotten so much better. So I can remember the first time I grew them too. We just threw them away. We didn't even smoke them. It was just it was like embarrassing. But that's not what these are. And I tell farmers here, like, what we do is when we do our breeding and we grow them, I often just leave a big bag on our break room table for staff. And I can remember when we started, people wouldn't take any, and then slowly people would take some, and they'd be like, "That's autoflower, isn't it?" And I'd be like, "Yeah, it is." And now we're at a point where I leave it and everybody takes it, and people just ask me, "What was that? Was that from a greenhouse or something? What was it?" I'm like, "That was the auto. Those are our new autos." They're like, "Really? Wow." So I think it's come a long way in a short amount of time, and some people, just get stuck on what they used to be and they don't realize it. But I would agree. I think I just anecdotally, really quick, like my father too. He's a senior, late 70s, and he'd never really grown. And I've got him doing it now just a little bit too. And it's like, what he does all summer? He sits in a chair outside and just looks at the plants. And
It's
he
delightful.
sits out there and he's like, "This is amazing." He's like, "I love it." He's like, "I just hang out with my girls." And that's what he calls it. He's like, "I just hang out with them all day." He's like, "It's my favorite thing." He sits out there and he reads, he smokes a joint, he just sits with the plants, and he's like, "I love watching him." He's like, "It's my favorite thing." And I'm like, and the quality he ends up with is so. And he's still learning, and he's a little lazy with it, but the experience, like you said, of doing it, he loves. And I have another friend, also a retired professor, and he lives in the South, and he had problems with migraines, and he of course never wanted to try cannabis. A very straight guy, and eventually, because it's gotten normal, his kid was like, please just try cannabis, please just try it. And he tried it, and he was like, oh my god, it helps my headaches. He's like, the medication I take makes it where I don't even feel like getting up, I just lay there. And he's like, this, I'm buzzing around doing stuff and I love it. And so then we're like, try to grow, try growing. And he does it inside in a tent, but he lives in a senior community, and he now has multiple people in the senior community also growing. And since
No.
he's a professor, he keeps all these spreadsheets of all of the people in the senior community and what their ailments are and what varieties work well for their ailments, and they all grow for each other, and it's become this whole thing. And he's like, this is the best thing that ever could have happened for my retirement. He's like, I have so much fun. He's like, this is the most fun I've ever had. He's like, I love growing. I love working with all these people in my in this little community, and we grow this for this lady. We grow, and he's like, I never could have imagined how fun this would be. And
And
and and
he's helping people on
uh,
such a in a society where, you have to make an
they're
effort to
all and
help
they're all
people.
off of their prescription medication. You know what I mean? And they're on this, and I'm like, and he's like, I never would have known. He's like, I just thought, and his kid's been involved in cannabis a long time, and he's like, I always just thought you were, doing something stupid, and he's like, oh my god, this is amazing. And I just like, I always forget that story, but it's like one of my favorite kind of stories. I just think it's an amazing story. This is like 10 or 15 years ago. This is quite a while ago.
I hope we see this pop up, because it's not just a hobby. It's really providing meaning. And I think the joy that one gets from helping someone live in less pain, it's so much better than a nice dinner or a new purse, or,
Absolutely.
that's that. If I would love to visit a senior community that does this. Did he have to worry about the smell with the tent? Did he have like a carbon scrubber, or was he
Yeah, I think so.
just like
Yeah,
whatever?
he took it really seriously. He got really into all the equipment and the gear, and he was really into it. And for a while, I was involved in helping him, and his son was involved, and his son has moved. I haven't seen that guy in 10 years, but I just remember this little period where his dad got so into it, and I was like, wow, this is amazing. And he was like, yeah, my mom's so happy. Like you're saying, he like doesn't sit inside watching TV. He's in the garage all day just doing this and stuff. So
Gave him
it
his
is
life
kind of
back.
a yeah, it's kind of a fun thing to do. The home cultivation is really a fun experience, and you end up very connected to the. I mean, farming is part of what humans have always done. It's only in the last few generations we've started to get a little disconnected to it. So something about starting a little seed to having a finished product is very fulfilling in a very deep way.
Absolutely. Um, I feel like we should end on that, even though I have more questions, but I feel like maybe this is just the first of many.
Okay.
But how can people in California find you easily?
Yeah, I mean, we're at a lot of retailers all around California, so you can, we post our drops on Twitter or X because it's just an easier platform for that. And then our website, purplecitygenetics.com, that shows all of our retail partners. And of course, you can go to, I think it's like weed maps and different ones to see who's got what products when. But yeah, and we're with a lot of other brands, so you see our varieties and other brands. But for home growers, yeah, check out our Twitter. It's hashtag PCG clones, and that'll show where there's clones and seeds everywhere. And then our website is also a good platform, and also you can contact us through there, where we got good customer service, and we're always trying to build more community and talk with people. So we do a lot of events here through the planting season too, with retailers, where we go and we have a product that's seedlings. So these are small, there's something we won't release as a clone and we won't necessarily release as a packaged seed. So they're kind of fun for pheno hunters and collectors, but also just for home growers. And we actually go and do a demo where we'll plant them for you, and we'll plant them in the soil. and we'll talk to you about the growing process. And yeah, and we send guys from our shop who are really good growers and really into it, and really chatty people. So they love just going down and meeting home growers and talking to them. So yeah, definitely look at our social media or our website. And these events happen almost every weekend. Over the next, like, really kicks off in April and then May, and then kind of winds down in June. But there's about a 6-7 week period where there's one pretty constantly, mostly in NorCal because we keep it close to where we're located. But yeah, those are great events. If anybody's around and can come talk to us, we love it.
Okay, we'll link to everything so people can find you
Okay.
easily. But Orin, you're absolutely fabulous. Thank you so much just for sharing these stories with me.
Yeah,
It's
my pleasure.
it's so obvious to see how much you love this and how much work you've put into it. So I hope you know that you're making a difference. You
Thanks,
obviously
Kathy.
do. But we really, really appreciate your expertise and knowledge and just enthusiasm.
Well, we love the work you're doing, and it's, I think, one of the most exciting things about social media and just these platforms is like just getting out to different communities. And sometimes we're just like in the garden, and then we're like in this little thing, and it's like I love just touching all these different people. And I think it's amazing the work you're doing, and I think it's really exciting to just get the message out there and just share with people in just different demographics. And yeah, that's what it's all about with social media for me. So thanks for having us on.
Of course.